Please be seated. Welcome to everyone to the celebration of this very special lady who taught us how to live life and how to die. And so I welcome especially Jackie and Paul and their family, and John and Diane and their family. At this time, we will begin with a biography of Marie Joann's life, prepared by Eleanor Craig, our archivist. Marie Joann asked that her own accounts of her life be used in the remembrance after her death. Accordingly, we begin where she began her autobiography. The population of Brentwood, Missouri, increased by 1 on March 19, 1937, when Joyce Rose Rekart came into the world.
Born at home with the assistance of Dr. Hayden and my grandmother, Joann Rekart, I was welcomed by my parents, John Edward Rekart and Annabelle Rekart, and two curious siblings, John 4 and Jacqueline 2. Of her parents, Marie Joann later wrote in her spiritual autobiography, "My parents were a great influence in my early years. Mother told me that she was impressed when she and my father were courting, and she asked him about his beliefs. He told her that he would choose death rather than renounce his faith in the Catholic Church. Mother converted, and they were married at the age of 25. Their relationship was good and an inspiration to me and my siblings, who assumed we would all follow in the same vocation. Little Joyce Rekart attended St. Mary Magdalene Parish School, taught by Dominican sisters in Brentwood on the outskirts of St. Louis. These were happy years, she later recalled. Religion was a very influential part of those years, with processions, May crownings, sodalities, and so on. I usually had a very significant part in these ceremonies. I sang in the choir, was prefect of sodality, and was May Queen. I played softball and basketball on the parish teams. High school years with the Ursuline sisters at Eugene Coyle Catholic High School in Kirkwood was more social than academic for me. I recall proms, dances, picnics, and social events more than I do academic achievements. All during high school, I prayed to know what God was calling me to. An aunt had told me that my tiny German grandmother, Joann Rekart, who had lived with our family and died when I was about 5, always prayed that one grandchild would be religious. I was the last grandchild, and she concentrated all her prayers on me. I feel very strongly at times that it was the prayers of this deeply spiritual woman that got me where I am today. With the help of a young parish priest in our parish, John Dollard, I met the Sisters of Loretto. He had worked with Loretto sisters in the inner city of St. Louis. He introduced me to the Webster College sisters. Both Sister Mary Ella and Sister Carl Ann were great saleswomen for the order, and I knew very soon that I wanted to share their spirit and goals. I applied for admission, and I entered Loretto on September the 8th, 1955, when I was 18 years old. Life at Loretto was certainly different than anything I could have imagined, but for some unknown reason, I loved it and found peace in this new growth period. May the 24th, 1956, Joyce Rose Rekart was received, taking the name Sister Marie Joann, which she retained throughout her nearly 60 years of religious life. She made her final vows on August 15, 1963. Following the completion of undergraduate studies, Marie Joann was missioned to St. Philomena's in Denver, where she spent the first of 32 years teaching primary grades and preparing children for First Communion. My second assignment was to St. Peter's in Rockford, Illinois. I taught first grade there for 5 years. I was glad to be in Illinois, as it was closer to St. Louis, where my mother was dying of cancer. Frequent trips home told me she was ready for whatever God asked of her. Shortly after she died, I went back to Denver to teach first grade at St. Mary's Academy. I was only in Colorado a short time when my father joined my mother. I learned a great deal from them in life, and most especially at their deaths. The sisters were also a tremendous support at this time. While in Illinois, Marie Joann was encouraged by her principal, Teresa Madden, to begin graduate studies in learning disabilities. My first year teaching at St. Mary's was a chance to use the skills I was learning at Northern Illinois University. I discovered a child with severe learning problems and helped her parents to place her in a school to correct her concerns. In gratitude, they offered to pay my way to finish the degree in special education. What a great help it was to have that knowledge of learning disabilities in a regular classroom. When I passed my 55th birthday, I thought of leaving education before I was not good for the children and they were not good for me. It was a difficult decision, but I made it and took a position in Deer Creek Canyon, operating Jesus Our Hope Hermitage for Father Roger Mollison. New responsibilities presented themselves every day: snow plowing, housekeeping, cooking, maintenance, scheduling and counseling retreatants, managing the financial books. There were challenges, but they seemed to be matched by miracles, and the project, which was operated on a very small budget, never operated in the red. In July of 2005, I left the retreat house after 12 good years. I moved to the Loretto Center in Littleton, Colorado, to take time to discern where God might be calling me next. From 2005 to 2014, Marie Joann served the Loretto community in Denver as a staff office receptionist briefly, and then on the staff of the membership outreach team. All the while, she continued to maintain the close, personal, loving connections with family, former students and their families, and Loretto members, connections which characterized her daily life from her childhood. She moved to the Mother House in 2014 to spend what she thought would be years of retirement baking cookies and cinnamon rolls for the community. Marie Joann's great heart surprised her. She died at Loretto on July the 4th, 2015. Marie Joann concluded her autobiography in this way: I look back with gratitude and peace. My years in education and those in the mountain retreat have been growth-filled and gratifying in many ways. My hundredfold in life is so evident, I look forward to that which is to come, and hereafter with joy and expectation.
Let us pray. I, wisdom, am with you. I am a light that will never grow dim. Love me, and you will see me. Look for me, and you will find me. At the slightest indication of your desire for me, I will make myself known to you, and you will have no trouble. You will find me ever present, sitting at your table. Even thinking about my presence will help you. Be aware of my presence, my concern, and my willingness to inspire and instruct you. I am always looking for those who look for me. I will accompany you on your path and meet you at every thought. Amen. At this time, we will have readings from I Am the Way, the Constitution of the Sisters of Loretto. Our life in community in the present time empowers us for mission and is itself an expression of mission. Rejoicing in and strengthened by our mutual love, we go forth to meet our farther neighbors in their human needs and aspirations. We seek to reach out beyond boundaries imposed by any differences that tend to separate us. I will walk this day in the presence of the Lord. The Spirit of God is not bound. It reveals itself in the lives of everyone. Even as we give to others, we acknowledge our need to learn from those to whom we are sent. I will walk this day in the presence of the Lord. Our faith, our dedication, our community life, our mission, all are meant to constitute a single gift of praise and thanksgiving to the one who freely loves us all. I will walk this day in the presence of the Lord. Quietly, daily, sometimes together, sometimes alone, we turn to God, praying as the Spirit moves our hearts and lives. I will walk this day in the presence of the Lord. We will begin our sharing. If you'll give us just a couple of minutes to bring the microphone down to the floor and so on. We would ask that you please give your name before you begin telling your story or your reflection on Marie Joann's life.
I'm Sister Maria Vissi, and I guess somebody has to start. I'm sure there are a lot of stories out there. I'm also from St. Louis, but we never really crossed paths in St. Louis. We were in the same class in the novitiate, and so we used to sleep in dormitories with some curtains in between each bed. And so we would very quietly, me and Joann slept in the bed next to mine, so we kind of pull the curtains back sometime and have some quiet talk at the night, which was against every rule, but I don't think it hurt anything really. The only other thing was that we used to have bats in our belfry, and so that was one of the interesting things that happened sometime when the bats would come in at night and everybody. It was kind of interesting because it sort of broke up the silence. And I know me and Joann always enjoyed anything that could bring a laugh into the situation. So I have a very, 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 very long history with me, Joann, and it certainly has been my pleasure to be a part of her life, and it certainly has been a pleasure that she's been a part of my life. And I can't tell you how much we'll miss her. That's for sure.
I'm Elizabeth Kroom, and I'm another classmate of Marie Joann's. And I think about her as Miss Hospitality. When I was in the House of Studies, I'm from Mobile, and my dad came by himself to visit me, and he sent word, do you know a good hotel nearby where I could stay? Well, guess what? Marie Joann said, oh, he can stay with my parents. And so he did for several days. And Marie Joann likes to tell the story that Jackie and Paul had been married for a short while and had a son, Michael. And Michael used to come in and see Pat staying with his grandparents and say something to Pat. And so that was, a memory that we shared together. Also, the other part of the hospitality, we were on the education committee together, and Marie Joann lived in Denver. I lived in Kansas City, and so I had to travel and stay with somebody. Guess who I stayed with and was treated royally? And of course, there were always the cinnamon rolls and the cookies. And we've been good friends through the years and had lots of good times together, both in Denver and at the Hermitage, and then when she arrived here. So I have very good memories of her and of Jackie and Paul and of her dad and mom.
I'm Agnes Ann Shum, and I was teaching at St. Mary's when Marie Joann was there. She was in first grade and was amazing how she could pick out the children who had special needs. It was very, very early in the first grade, and one after another, she would figure that out and send them to Havern, the school, for special attention. And when they came back to St. Mary's in the fifth, sixth grade, and I have sixth grade, we never knew that they had any special needs. And I remember one child in particular, when she came back, couldn't take a written test. And so we would do oral tests and get her through it. And I remember when she went on to the seventh grade, after about a year, the teachers told me they didn't know. This lady back here is doing this to me. I sympathize with you. We will meet her very long later.
Well, I'm not very good at speaking in front of people, so excuse me, but Maria, and I wanted to say on behalf of some of the cousins that this is the second time that I've been to the Loretto Mother House. And growing up, I've never met a woman that has inspired me, and I know a lot of my cousins, to find truth and peace and friendship with God. So I love being here with all of you and her friends because I know how much she loved you. But I just wanted to say that we're so blessed to be here and share this day with you, and we'll miss her greatly.
My name is Sister Mary Peter Bruce, and I had lived in El Paso, Texas for 10 years and moved to Denver when I had to go to the doctor, and I found out that I had breast cancer. And so I had an operation, and after that, I didn't really know very well how to take care of the fact that I needed a prosthesis. So thanks to Marie Joann, who had the experience of having to wear a prosthesis, she took me to the right store where I could buy one, and she showed me just exactly how to take care of myself. So she was almost like my mother, and even though she was my younger sister, she was my big sister at the time. So I'm very grateful, Marie Joann, for your help.
I didn't have too much, I'm Sister Eva Marie. I did not have much contact before with Marie Joann until she came here to the Mother House. But I was deeply impressed with her as her days we knew and she knew were shorter and shorter. So we had a group of co-members that were making their statements of commitment, and then we had a pretty big group of seniors from Narings High School from St. Louis. And she had asked, we had a special mass for all these groups that were here. Excuse me. She had asked the priest, Father Martin Lally, that she would like to not announce, but let the community know what her health condition was and how far it was, and that she would want everybody to know from her where she was with it. And I was just amazed at the pillar of strength, spiritual strength, that she just showed as she very calmly and very beautifully said to all of us here that her days were shorter than most, had expected up until this time. But then she said, however, with your prayers and my positive attitude, we can make it. I will never forget those words. I mean, I I just think, just showed so much spiritual strength that she had had all along in the various ministries that she had.
I'm Sister Mary Gutzwiller, and I know Jackie and Paul. I've met them once, but I feel like I know this whole family. I lived with Marie Jo my very first year in the community, the very first year. And she would always tell me about Jackie and Paul and John and Diane and all the kids. She would show me pictures. She would tell me what was happening with them. I just feel like I know you. It's just a beautiful family. We only lived together 1 year, and I tend to be a pretty independent person. And Marie Joann likes to take care of people. So we had a little difficulty in the beginning, but we worked it through. So by the end of the year, we could say things and not get mad, or if we did, we could work it through. So I think that was a pretty good year. And then we kept in touch, not closely, but if I would see her, we would sit and chat. And more recently, this past year, since she's been here at Loretto, I don't live here. I live about 3.5 hours away. But when I come back, I stay at 1873 house, where she was living. And at Christmas time, I wanted to give everybody just a little something for Christmas. And I had gone to where I live, it's in the mountains, the Appalachian Mountains. And every Thanksgiving, they have what they call Mountain Masters, crafts done by the people in the mountains. And I found 4 ornaments, Christmas tree ornaments, and they were made out of Scrabble tiles. They put the letters together to make a word. Things like joy and peace and hope, where each one of 4 people opened up their gift, and I will never forget Marie Joann's laughter. She looked at it, cookies, and she laughed. So she just had this wonderful laugh. So I'm grateful for her. So thank you.
As a family, we all miss Sister. Through the years, she's always been great counsel for our family in the hardest times. She was always there for us. She was always so kind, gentle, loving, and gave us the best advice. My fondest memory of Sister, my name is Ito, and I'm married to one of the MacArthur girls. I haven't married Kathy yet, but we were in love. And Vince and Julie were getting married. And at the wedding, I got to know Sister. And for some reason, I got up out of my chair and I asked her to dance. And man, can that girl dance. At the time, I think I was about 27 years old and an athlete and in really good shape. And she danced me into the floor. She danced and we danced and we danced. And it was a wonderful wedding and a wonderful memory. And we came down the day before she passed away. And we went through some of our warm memories and laughed and held each other. And that was one of our memories. We miss you, Sister, and we love you.
I'm Joann Rekart. I'm Sister Marie Joann's sister-in-law. I think there's one memory that we'll all remember, and that's when she came to visit us. We had to make sure we had lots of flour, lots of eggs, lots of sugar, because she always made a bread for us. She made sweet rolls for us for enough for weeks afterwards, so we never forgot. And I know all the cousins and the nieces and everybody has that memory because we all learned from her, and it was very special. It'll be with us forever.
I lived with Marie Joann at Jesus Hill Hermitage for 2 years plus a couple months. I'm mandated, and I don't know how many loaves of bread that she made, that kind that were, what do you call that? So this one Saturday, we had to go somewhere, so she thought it would be good to make a loaf of bread for the people we were going to see. So she hurried up and put it together and put it on the counter to get cool. And went upstairs to get ready, and I went downstairs to get ready. But my German Shepherd dog was in the kitchen. So when the two of us, when she came down and I came up, her loaf of bread was on the floor. And it had a big bite out of both ends and a big bite out of the middle. She was not happy. The other memories I have is when Paul and Jackie would come, and when she told me that they were coming, I'd get out my paper and make a huge list of things for Paul to do, which he did. And at the end of the day, after all his chores, he would say to Jackie, "I need a drink, a strong one." But that was good. The only other thing I remember, she showed me a drawing that one of her first graders did of her, and apparently when she taught first grade, she had a lot of energy and speed. So this drawing was when she was in the habit, and instead of the veil hanging straight down, it was straight back because she was always speeding around.
Hello, my name is Kathy. I'm one of Sister Marie Joann's nieces. And first of all, I'd just like to say thank you to each and every one of you that have helped us through this journey with Sister. It was unexpected, but it did give us a lot of peace to know that you were all here supporting her and loving her as much as we have our whole lives. I think I can say for my whole family that whenever we knew that Sister was coming in town, and sometimes it was for a brief moment or a day, sometimes it was 2 days, sometimes it was a week, no matter what was going on in our big family and our lives and our businesses and work and all of that, we came from out of the woodwork to make sure that we saw her before she left to go back either to Colorado or to her next destination. We loved to hear her stories about her family and her friends abroad in different countries, about different charities, and just her daily living, how she taught her children, and just got so much reward out of that. We enjoyed every bit of those stories. And just simply sitting in front of the TV, or chatting, or having a nice glass of wine, and just catching up. It was simple. It gave us a lot of peace and love, we are so blessed to be a part of her life. And so today, as sad as many of us are feeling, we celebrate her. We celebrate her life and everything that she did. We are so happy to be a part of it. And so I do thank all of you for being so special to our family as well, because even if we don't know you personally, we've heard many stories, beautiful stories, and we thank you very much.
Last chance. Okay, at this time, we're going to connect with cyberspace, and there are people in Denver and El Paso and other parts of the country that would like to share with us tonight.
Okay, so for the folks who are watching through Zoom, if you would like to share a story, I can see some of you, but some of you have your cameras turned off. If you'd like to share a story or a memory of Marie Joann, please do physically raise your hand, and I can unmute you and we'll let you share your story. All right. Denver, you've got a live mic.
My name is Teresa Canale. I met Marie Joann when I was a young nun on my first mission in Wyoming, and she was in Colorado. And one Thanksgiving, we invited some of the nuns from St. Phil's to come up for Thanksgiving dinner. And I was doing the cooking at that time. And Marie Joann was all excited because she wanted to be in the kitchen with me and help fix Thanksgiving dinner, which we did, all of the trimmings and everything. And as we were doing it, she kept saying, "Oh, this is more fun. This is more fun. It's my favorite. It's going to be my favorite for the rest of my life." And after the meal was finished and everyone enjoyed it, they said how wonderful it was. And so she said, "Oh, this is just great. I know this is going to be my favorite meal forever." Then later on, when in Denver at the center, during the years we stayed connected with each other, and I would come out to the center to help with her clean things in the chapel. She hated to clean the candles, to take all the wax off of the top parts. So I always had the job to do that for her and to polish all of the candle holders. And we had much laughter and more fun together. When it came time for her to go to the mother house, and we were helping her get packed, and she said, "I don't know how I'm going to get all these things I want to take to the mother house, but I don't want to get a big van." So we talked about it, and we decided to do a U-Haul truck. And so she rented a U-Haul truck. And before that, we went down to see about the truck and to test it out. So when we got to the place, the gentleman said, "Now who's going to drive this truck?" And we said, "We are." And so we said we wanted to try it out. Well, when we got there to the truck, it was a very high truck. And so the two of us had a very hard time getting up into the truck. And we would try one leg, and then we'd try the other leg. And she says, "Well, you push me up, and then the next time I'll push you up." So we had a great time. And Marie Joann, her one thing was she kept saying to the man, "But where's the rear view mirror? I can't see out the back because there's no rear view mirror." And he says, "Well, you have to look at the mirrors on the side." And she says, "But that's so confusing." But we got going, and we had a great time. We laughed a lot. She'd say, okay, tell me what's coming behind us. And when we went to get out of the truck, it was really very easy because we would just get to the edge of the seat and slip off and jump at the last part of it. So we drove it all the way to St. Louis and to Jackie and Paul's house. And they were a little amazed at the two of us driving this truck. And we spent a few days there, and then we went on to the mother house. So we had a great time. It was wonderful. And she said, well, it's not all my stuff, though, because we were hauling a bunch of stuff for other people. So we packed it in stages. So one stop would say, we'd get rid of this, then the next one would get rid of something else. So it was a wonderful time, and I will never forget that. And on the call that she made to me on the Sunday when she told everyone, and she called to tell me that, she says, our trip to the mother house in the U-Haul was wonderful. It was so much fun. I'll remember it the rest of my life. And then she started laughing, and I started laughing, and she says, well, that's not going to be hard to remember, will it? So, I miss you very much. And Jackie and Paul, I know the great love that she had for all of you. And I have heard about tons and tons of stories about all of you. And it was wonderful to get to visit with you. And my thoughts and prayers are with all of you.
Okay, looks like that's it from Denver. Anybody else there?
I'm here.
And Kathy Muller. Oh, nope, sorry, excuse me. Denise Ann. Nope, I was trying to figure out who was doing it. Go ahead, Sister Denise Ann, please.
It's okay. I just want to say, of all the people I've worked with throughout my years in Loretto, I would crown Marie Joann Sister Generosity. Nothing was ever too much to take on for Marie Joann. She always had time to lend a helping hand, and I appreciate all the lessons I learned from her and all the help that she gave to us, especially me in the development office through the many years that I was out here with her. So for all the things I've learned from Marie Joann, I say thank you, Lord.
Thanks, Denise Ann. Anybody else in Denver? I don't want to cut anybody off. Oh, Ruth Roughton.
Ruth Roughton. And Marie Joann was so kind to take me on for the final phase of my co-membership after Sister Rosemary Wilcox passing. And I was just blessed with her wisdom and faith. And we also shared the wonderful gift of loving God's creatures. And she loved to feed the squirrels and the birds, and so do I. But I'm just remembering her. She's the true definition of kindness and giving. She just didn't know how to say no to anybody. So I've been blessed in my life for having known her.
Marie Joann and I were novitiate.
Say your name.
Lydia Pena. Marie Joann and I were in the novitiate together. This year, we are celebrating our 60th anniversary. And she called me and she said, Lydia, you've got to come to Kentucky. You're the only one that's not here. And there's so many stories that I have of Marie Joann. We were not only in the novitiate together, but we grew into a beautiful friendship through the years.
And what I want to say to you, Marie Joann, is thank you. You really did teach me how to live and how to die. I'm celebrating you and missing you very much.
John Sparrow. It was so lovely to see the single rose in a vase next to Marie Joann's picture and cremains, because that was her signature gift to all of us here at the center on our birthdays. It was just so significant of Marie Joann's generosity and love and care for all of us. And we have missed her very much here at the center.
Okay, is there anyone else in Denver? In which case, I'm going to turn it over to Kathy Muller. Kathy, there you go.
Thank you, Rebecca. This is Kathy Muller, and it's a good follow-up from Joan Sparrow's story, because I too noticed the single red rose there at the Mother House in the church, which was very much of what Marie Joann did. For the time that I had an office out there at Loretto Center on my birthday, and I watched, and on other people's birthdays, there would be a single rose that would show up in our office or in our bedroom, someplace special. And I thought that's so typical of Marie Joann, that it wasn't a big bouquet. It was one single rose that had incredible beauty, and that was enough. So she was generous. She appreciated the uniqueness of beauty that's in many different places. I think that probably, generosity and loving kindness are the words I think of with Marie Joann. And I am grateful that our lives connected. She was a gift to so many, and truly a gift to Loretto. So I am with one of her nieces to have a lot of sadness, but at the same time to celebrate the incredible gift of her life, which continues on. So thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else who would like to share anything? You would just raise your hand and I'll be able to see you and I can tell you. But it looks like Mother House will go back to you then.
And we'll close with the song, My Soul Give Thanks. My soul give thanks to the Lord, and all my being bless God's name. My soul give thanks to the Lord, and never forget. Thank you all. And don't forget the root beer floats waiting for you. That was one of Marie Joann's requests. Root beer floats and cookies. Wonder why.